Welcome back to Forbidden Knowledge News. I'm your host, Chris Matthew. Today my guest is Randy Veitenheimer. First, a couple of announcements. Join us May 15th through 20th in Blairsville, Georgia for the Befriending Bigfoot event put on by our friend Brandon Thomas. We're going to have amazing speakers, kayaking, hikes, music, presentations, much more. Visit expandingrealitypodcast.com/events to find out more and get your tickets. Great ways to help support Forbidden Knowledge News. First, watch the Forbidden documentary, Occult Louisiana, on Tubi. It is a great, free, easy way for you to help out. Also, if you would like to make a donation, we have links in the description. We've had some breakdowns of equipment, lights, one of our cameras. Anything is greatly appreciated. Right now, any donation of $100 or more, you're going to get a download of Occult Louisiana, a download of the new film when it comes out, your name in the credits of the upcoming film, as well as an interview here right on Forbidden Knowledge News to talk about whatever you'd like or promote whatever you'd like. Use one of the links in the description if you'd like to make a donation. Anything is greatly appreciated. You can also sign up for a Rokfin premium membership. Go to rokfin.com/FKN+. You'll get access to all our premium content and all the premium content from every creator on Rokfin. Finally, you can download our episodes directly through Spreaker. That's our podcast provider. Always free to you. Very easy. Booking guests for May. If you have suggestions or you would like to be a guest, email me forbiddenknowledgenews@gmail.com. Today I want to welcome back to the show Randy Veitenheimer. He is host of Gaia's original series Quantum Effect, as well as a featured guest in Undisclosed. He has also appeared in Open Minds with Regina Meredith and Beyond Belief with George Norrie. He is an energy healer and a member of the Potawatomi tribe. Randy, welcome back. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you again.
It's great to have you back on. It's been a while, and I can't wait to get into this. Today we're going to talk about the UFO, UAP phenomena, nature of supernatural experiences, and how it's all a part of our human experience. And my perspective about these topics continues to evolve, and I'm coming to understand from my own experiences that it may be that much of this phenomena presents itself based on our state of mind, awareness, our vibration, our willingness to interact with it in different ways. So I think it's really, in essence, could be a part of us. But before we get into any of this, remind the audience a little bit about yourself and your work.
Oh, okay. My name is Randy Veitenheimer. On the internet, it's under Energy Doctor, spelled with a K. Anybody can find me there. And what I've been pursuing is, of course, knowledge. I had somebody ask me what I do. I said, well, I'm an explorer. I'm an explorer of knowledge and consciousness. And so for basically the last 50 years, through martial arts and yoga and dozens of other disciplines, I've been trying to figure out what it means to be human. So, and, which begs the question of what the heck are we doing here, right? Kind of like nobody ever asked the question, why humans? So anyway, I've had a good time with that. It's been an interesting journey, and it covers a lot of disciplines. What happens is you start finding some commonality between all of them. And so, like in medicine, American medicine, Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, Native American medicine, there's lots of them. And yet we tend to confine ourselves to just one discipline, one reality, whatever. So I keep pushing around the boundaries of all that. And basically just for self-understanding. And then what I found is that tends to help other people too, because I'm able to maybe explain some things that otherwise would go unacknowledged or unexplained, right? Unexamined. So,
right. Great introduction. With the topic of aliens, UFOs, extraterrestrials, Have you had any personal experiences with what we understand as these things?
Yes. When I was about 11 years old, around midnight, I'm looking up at the sky. And the funny part is, I'd just done a science project on being able to determine distances by angle. You put a protractor on a little gun-like thing and a string, and you could measure literally cosmic distances, we'd say, distance between stars and stuff. And anyway, it was a good science project. But then at midnight, I'm basically hauling hay with my family, and look up the night sky, and here comes this object sailing across from basically the horizon up to vertical. Now, that's a long distance. It's if you make a triangle, then the bottom of the triangle is where we are on Earth. But as you go farther along, that distance increases as you look at that arc. And I thought, wow, that's funny. And I asked my mother, I said, "Did you see that?" And she said, "Yes." And years later, somebody asked her if she had seen a UFO, and she said, "Yes, I have." Right. So what we were observing was an object that was doing things that basically in 1961 wasn't possible. And so here came a jet, we could tell, because it's motoring along like 5 miles an hour compared to the other object. And we just watched it while this jet tried to close on it. And at one point, it just, I guess, decided to disappear. It basically cleared from vertical to the horizon in less than a second. Now, if you take any kind of distance, that's fast. I mean, that's incredibly fast. So to my knowledge, at that point, I just started reading science fiction. So this was endlessly fascinating to me. And later, I was at Edwards Air Force Base and in my 20s, and basically saw things there that even just now they're admitting to, which becomes important in this conversation. So we have a technological arc. It's the same thing as the object flying up to vertical and then clearing the horizon. And what has happened is that technological arc has stalemated, and it stalemated back in the 60s. And so everybody talks about alien technology or UAPs or all these things. And if you look at the technological arc, it just basically slowed down to zero on what I consider some of the most important things that would help humanity.
Right. Yeah.
So if you look at that, things get discovered and disappear. It's my favorite is there's a company called Rolls-Royce in England, and they went bankrupt and they came back. The symbol's RCCY, and I've been following them for years. They basically got down to about 50 cents a share, but the point is that they develop engines for aircraft. Well, that's old technology, been around a long time. But finally, they come up with what I call nucleonics, small-scale nuclear devices. Now, submarines have had those, U.S. submarines, Russian, for a long time. And we know they can pull in, like in Lebanon years ago, and power up the whole dang city with just the reactor that's on one of those submarines. So Rolls-Royce has come up with, now they're entering into the small-scale nucleonic stage. This was postulated by Asimov in the Foundation series. And just like in the arc of technology, you see things come up and then they disappear. So Asimov gave us a good blueprint, and we know that because Elon Musk follows it. When they ask you what was the most important thing you ever read was, Asimov's Foundation series, because they delineate a stage of development with small-scale nucleonics that power everything. And they're very, very much researched. When I was a kid, I became fascinated with nuclear physics. That's what I originally went to college for. And fluid bed reactors were something that Russia was sending into space, And it's like the other day I saw an article talked about, well, maybe footbed reactors, first of all, they don't melt down. And this is the new stage of nucleonics that's basically 70 years old. So they reintroduced that technology. All of it's been held in abeyance. And that's what we see on everything, all the technology. And of course, then we go, well, who would hold all that back? And the language is those that can. So, it's like there's what a dark journalist talks about. There's ones that want to protect the knowledge and those that want to disclose it. And it's just a classic tale. I mean, Native American mythology or history talks about what we call the twins. Those that are positive and those that are negative. Two brothers. One of them's always trying to help you, and one of them's always trying to hurt you or hold you back. And I think we see that played out. It's been played out for thousands of years. That really hasn't changed. So
let's talk a little bit about where this technology ultimately comes from, what the nature of what we understand as UFOs really are, and what could be behind that technology, what could be the intelligences piloting these UFOs, and how did we come into contact with it and able to reverse engineer if that's what we're doing?
Okay. Let me explain one thing, and then let's get into all that. I may need you to repeat it all.
Sure.
Okay. A UFO is a physical object. Okay. It has a reality to it. We can go for information density or sensory data, whatever. There's a lot of ways. It's like you holding the computer in your hand or something. You have a lot of data that reflects your knowledge or interaction with that object. Okay. Now, as soon as we define it as a UAP, unknown whatever aerial phenomena, we have moved from a physical object into something that's basically just a thought. It's kind of like I saw Elvis, right?
Yeah.
Now, so we have all these people throughout history, and I find it very fascinating to analyze, is that they've seen UFOs. Well, I've seen UFOs. I have not seen unacknowledged aerial phenomena, okay? Because as soon as I transfer the information set from UFO to UAP, I no longer have a physical object to be concerned with. I only have is some thought of some memory of somebody seeing something, okay? And so it was a great disservice to the UFO community, because we were looking for objects, and now they're just looking at people like, oh, I saw Elvis, or I saw a UFO, or whatever. And in other words, there's no depth to that data. There's nothing to be gleaned from it. Oh, it went from, like I was saying earlier, it went from here to there. That's basically all you can say about a UFO. A UAP. Oh, it's bright light. Oh, it's a red light. It's a blue light. You can't say much anymore. But if it was a physical object, you can get into all kinds of things like what's the technology or how do you fly it or all kinds, you can't do that when you identify as UAP. So I thought it was a masterful stroke of disinformation to introduce into the whole subject. And then the second thing is that all this, you ask who has been, we'll say, suppressing it or whatever, is the idea that the CIA, and one we always leave out is Office of Naval Intelligence, they're the ones that actually ended up with any craft that occurred in Aztec or Roswell or any other places. And I'll get onto that, is that we have always been told there's all these crash retrievals. Okay. Everybody wants to tell you about. It's a UAP. It's an unacknowledged phenomenon. I saw it. And nobody has ever produced physical UFO, physical evidence.
Hello, friends. If you or a loved one has been struggling with a chronic or complex health problem and have been disappointed with the level of care available, get in touch with my friend Christian Yordanov by booking a free intro call. He is a certified functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and author of 2 health books. He was on the show recently to discuss his latest book on longevity, How to Actually Live Longer, Volume 1. He has worked with clients with severe gastrointestinal problems, toxicity, and debilitating chronic fatigue. He's helped people with autoimmune conditions, hypothyroidism, skin disorders, autism, multiple sclerosis, obesity, and other metabolic conditions. And he can help you restore your health so you can get back to living your life to the fullest. He works with clients remotely all over the world and uses state-of-the-art functional lab testing to help uncover gut and hormonal imbalances, nutrient deficiencies, and other underlying factors contributing to health problems. Coupled with his thorough client intake and metabolic function assessment, he'll design truly customized protocols that will help you address the roots of your health challenges. If you're tired of suffering conflicting health advice and frustrating trial and error, and you're ready to transform your life, Christian will teach you how to restore and optimize your health by improving your gut function, detoxification system, nutrition, supplementation, sleep and light hygiene, and of course reducing psychological and physiological stress in your body. He'll give you all the tools and knowledge you need to create lasting health and vitality. Remember, symptoms, disease, and dysfunction do not occur randomly in the body. Every effect has a cause. Understanding the causes allows you to change the effects. This is the power of the functional health paradigm that Christian will help you implement. So if you've been suffering with gut problems like constipation, gas, bloating, pain, or you're battling burnout, chronic fatigue, you have mood issues, brain fog, low libido, poor sleep, or you're having trouble losing weight and taking control of your cravings, diet, and routines, there are solutions. Book your free intro call with Christian using the link in the description to discuss your situation and see how he can help you transform your health.
I tell people, of all the people in the world, and even like Stephen Greer, 25 years, he's never produced a physical object, something that we could put on the National Mall in D.C. here and go, look at this, right? And so in the same way, nobody's ever landed a craft. Notice they only land on military bases and in the dark.
Yeah.
Anybody like, wait a minute, like that's a perfect film set, something we can control, but out in broad daylight, that's a little rougher, right? So why not have we ever seen them during the daytime, and not only that, land somewhere where somebody could go, take me to your leader or something. I mean, so it's all kind of like a psyop to me. Mm-hmm. And here's a key for anybody that gets interested in all this. It's scripted. We're in, if you read any science fiction book, we're in chapter, let's see where we are, chapter 34 out of 50. Okay, so guess what? There'll be another chapter, because they always drop the bomb of, oh my God, there was another sighting, or there was another this or that. Mm-hmm. But they'll never say there was one of them that landed. We put it on the mall. Here's the aliens. You can walk up and talk to them, $25 a ticket, right? And just knock yourself out because you can answer all your questions. And the reason you can't answer those questions is because the answers don't exist for us. So there. Now back to your questions. Sorry about that rant.
No, it was great. It's great. Perfect.
Yeah. So the technology of how do they fly them? Well, they've had the idea of human interface. This is what Tesla's, Elon Musk is one that's introducing technology that's been around forever. And we want to paint Elon Musk as a genius for doing this. How about let's open up the archives of German scientific endeavors for the last 50 years, and basically you'll find all these things, right? You know, he's just reintroducing technology that's already been developed. And so we think he's a genius. So then we go, well, where does the information come from? Well, that technological arc never stopped. It's actually accelerated, and that's where all the missing money goes, let's say. That's another theory, right? And that makes a lot of sense. And then we get into what we call modulated releases. In other words, incremental releases versus game changers versus paradigm shifts. And all for our own protection, by the way. This is all for your own protection.
Right.
So when we look at all that, we have lots of players out there generating lots of information, and basically none of it's true. Okay, and I'll get into that. The reason is we give meaning to things. Okay, as a human being, we give meaning to things. This is important because without us giving meaning to it, UFOs would disappear off the roadmap kind of like instantly, kind of like some country like Ukraine we used to have a war with or something, you know,
Yeah.
or Iraq or Afghanistan. It just disappears. Why? It has no meaning anymore. And so you're being played. That's what it amounts to. And so when you think about all that, you finally get back to, well, where's the information coming from? Is it an alien origin? Well, that gets into the second part of our talk. But one of the things I found fascinating, everybody from Dali, who is an artist, I'm an artist. We go to like Einstein, we go to Tesla and say, where did their knowledge come from? And another great fantasy is that they were educated to it, just like we have our education system. And the truth matter is every one of them said they kept a notebook by their bed. I do that too. And the reason is sometimes at midnight, 1, 2, 3 in the morning, I kind of like what they call it now, get an upload, a download or something. Right? And what happens is that information becomes available to me. Okay. Now, where I was looking for it or meditating on it or in the right place, right time, to my way of thinking, it's kind of like getting up a GPS system for where knowledge exists. And we call that the field. And so you go to where the knowledge is. I think that's the only thing that happened with Tesla and Einstein and others. They actually got to where that knowledge was. And of course, if you do it on drugs or meditation or any other aspect, then we call it prophecy. We call it all, you know, all kinds of things.
Yeah. And
basically, we're just bringing the information that's out there into ourselves. And we do that. And the explanation I give is very simple. You're only human about 10 or 12 hours a day. Think about the time you're sleeping. And when you're sleeping, now we get into the idea that you're supernatural, okay? Because you're not inactive, just like you're active in a physical realm, we'll say, or three-dimensional, or whatever the heck they come up with next. But we could say in sleep states, you're interactive 4-dimensional, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, ever how high you want to count. So there.
Right. That's very interesting. So when we're talking about the technology that is being put forward today, even beyond what we're being told is UAPs, is all being engineered by folks who might have had some sort of cosmic download connected to an energy field. And this is something of a consciousness phenomenon, but it is being perpetuated by propaganda, basically, right?
Yes, exactly. It's entertainment at its finest, is what I call it.
Great.
Because, and I explain, the reason I say that is for all the interest you've had, not necessarily you personally, but anybody, like me, I've been interested in not UFOs and flying saucers. I've been interested in space, just like, say, Elon Musk. But my interest has been picked by my imagination, which I picked up from Heinlein and from Asimov and from Gordon R. Dixon and a million others. And they're describing in a imaginative sense, just like an artist paints a painting, some reality, some vision. Okay. Now, does that have a physicality here? Well, they've reached out for that information, and it comes through as a creative point in life, either as writing or, art, something. And they express it as stories, which, is a proper way to communicate and actually educate somebody. So we look at all that and go, this is just a big story that people have put together. And you're being entertained by it. And the reason we know is that, like, all the people that get abducted, they always get abducted at night. Like, what the hell? The daytime again.
Right.
Not all of them, but we're talking 80, 90% if you do the research. And again, back to Edwards Air Force Base, I saw planes and things that they just now admit 50, 60 years later. That technological art is still growing. It's still working. The only thing that's not is the dumbing down of people who don't want to research and or go out and find their own knowledge, because if they did, they would be the true innovators. You don't have to wait. That's the other thing. They've got us in a story arc. Remember the chapters, the scripted nature of all this, that we have to wait for them to tell us something. And, there's thousands of people out there that, like, wait a minute, let me go into a dream state, meditative state, consciousness, other dimension, something, and let me go look. Maybe I can come up with the answer instead of waiting on who. And that gets back to another critical point. If you were going to have what I call this disclosure, I love that language. First of all, what authority and under what jurisdiction would you accept somebody else telling you that UFOs exist? Because we have millions of people doing it and nobody's buying it. All right. I mean, they're buying it, but not really. Okay. Why? There's no physical evidence of it. Even the ones that do ancient history and all this other stuff. It's like you still haven't produced one spacecraft, right? You haven't produced one Vayama or whatever the hell else you want to come up with, right? I mean, it's like, okay, show me one. And then I go, what's wrong with that language? You want to tell me about it? It's I could give references, but I won't. You can tell me about it, but why would that be any more important to me than somebody on the street or somebody I don't know telling me? And the answer is it can't be. There's no authority and no jurisdiction that would allow you to completely accept the idea that there's UFOs out there that are being manned by aliens or whatever. Now, everybody's an alien, so we can get rid of that. Well, you're an alien to your wife or husband or children. I promise you, let alone to half the people you know, especially me. They're just, they don't know what the hell to do with me. And I'm sure if we had an alien here, it's like, go ahead and set up the conversation. Go ahead and set up the interview. What would you say? Like, how's it going? Yeah. How's the? I mean, what people are silly, right?
Well, let's talk a little bit about the nature of what people experience during quote unquote contact or abduction experiences. Are these intelligences a part of our own consciousness reaching out to guide us in a certain way? It seems that most people who have had these experiences, I'll say most of them, they're very positive experiences, and it changes their lives for the better, and it usually gives them information about how to proceed and heal themselves, and all this profound information that is for that individual, and very rarely will have a group phenomena where a bunch of people will experience something. It happens, like you mentioned, CE5, which we'll get into a little later. But what do you think is the nature of this intelligence that reaches out and can manifest in different ways to different people?
We have not plumbed the extent of our consciousness. Okay. So is the subconscious supplying that information? Is the unconscious supplying it? And now first of all, the conscious is not fragmented as Freud came up with, conscious, subconscious, unconscious. It's actually homogeneous throughout the mind or brain, whatever you want to call it. So the brain is just a receptor. It's the interface. And that's something we should definitely be looking at. But the source of the information is always from outside you. Think about that. It's the classic question is, if I'm the one listening to my own internal dialogue, then who the hell is talking? Okay. And so when you get information like that, that's a proper question. And here's the second one, is you should calibrate the level of consciousness with that which is speaking to you, even if it's your own subconscious or unconscious. So now we go to Hawkins' scale of consciousness, power versus force, which I recommend everybody read, because now we start being able to kind of like produce some discernment of what's going on. And if you can't discern the truth, you can't tell the truth. So this becomes very important. And the other thing is, remember when you're sleeping or when you're in a meditative state or when you're an artist, like when you're painting, I don't know what I'm painting. I'm painting, and then at the end of it, I have to step back and look and see what I've done. So people go, like, where's the information come from? Who's listening? Who's painting? Right? And that answer goes into the concept of the supernatural. And that is that historically, we were aware, like the Native Americans have long traditions of interacted with that which is non-physical. Mm-hmm. So, and then that got disappeared when we came up to the scientific age in the 1870s and the science societies, royal societies, and all that. But what happened is we didn't stop being interactive. So that's where we get all our stories, imagination, all our artwork, all our creativity comes from that which is non-physical. There's no physical basis for it. And then the critical part is you are interactive that at a non-conscious level, the one they leave out on all those conscious things, at a non-conscious level when you're asleep, when you're not quite yourself, which is the work I do. I work on people to get them to be themselves. And then we could be interactive at a conscious level. But anyway, for the most part, 10, 12 hours a day or more, you are interactive with non-local reality. That's what it amounts to. So local reality, we place all the emphasis on, but non-local, non-physical experiences, non-local sources of knowledge were acknowledged by, like I said, every society on the earth for the last thousands of years. And it's just that we became so enamored with materialism that we abandoned all that. And now it's come back, and we call it spirituality, or we call it religion, we call it all these things, right? My favorite now is that we're all star seeds going into a fifth dimension, whatever that means. So I hope I've offended enough people.
Oh, no, this is great. This is great. It's just really confirming a lot of things for me. And I've had some very profound consciousness experiences that have changed my perception on reality dramatically. And in turn, it manifests a completely different reality. Seemingly, it's things can actually change in very profound ways just based on the way you're looking at things and your perspective, right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. It's I like the idea of that you can't see the back of your head. Okay. Like, who the heck knows what's back there? But these are some Zen type things, exercise I give some of my students, right? My favorite is, what's the face you were born with before you were born? The face you had before you were born. And, the nice thing about some sort of Zen, whatever koan or that, all it requires is you to be very still and to go looking, okay? It's a forgotten skill. Somebody goes, there's UFOs. Set yourself down, close everything up, and go, wonder what that looks like. I wonder if there's any information that can come to me that would give me a better understanding. This is a proper technique, by the way. For, somebody says they love you, give me a minute. Okay. Let me take a look at that. And that occurs from a moment of stillness. I teach martial arts, or as a way to teach this. The first one is awareness. You're trying to go into a state of awareness and expand that out. That's all they're saying when they talk about going into fourth dimension, fifth, sixth. You're just expanding your reach. And so some people have greater reach. We call those Imagineers. We call them creatives. We call them Elon or whoever. Okay. And then everybody that follows them, we call thieves, Edison. So, Tesla comes up with it, Edison steals it, and Edison's a genius. Welcome to society, right? But anyway, at night, and this is where the concepts of lucid dreaming, I don't call it lucid dreaming. I'm going to project my consciousness out into the universe, out into those GPS systems to look for knowledge that should already be there. And that's the other thing. All knowledge of UFOs and technology is already there. It's the people that it comes to that we should be asking, how come you got a download on how to create like the generators at Niagara Falls in one night, and to draw it out, build it, and it's still operating 150 years later? It's like, that's a proper question. And it's non-scientific. Okay. It dwells in the realm of what we call the supernatural, which has been forbidden to us for over 100 years. It's like if you read tarot cards or anything like that when I was a kid, they'd hang you, right? They'd put crosses on your mailbox and talk bad about you. And of course, they still do. It's the same thing with astrology and a few other things. It's like, well, wait a minute. Maybe these people are being sensitive, or maybe they're reaching out into that area that we should be looking at as a birthright, is what I call it. It's something that we're able to do. It's just that we sit here and wait for authority and jurisdictional issues to come up in a way that makes us satisfied, but actually doesn't ever resolve anything. And so now we have everything from politics to UFO community. None of them resolve our insecurity, our fears. Okay. In fact, most of them just play on it, So Office of Naval Intelligence, we never talk about it. Precursor CIA, you go, are they up to any kind of way to promote our sense of well-being? The answer is no. Okay. In fact, they have whole departments of it, and you can get off into all of that, from Project
Well, it seems like they have a very few very powerful people at the top that have an understanding that our reality can be manipulated with control of the masses in a theater, and they are utilizing it to steer us in certain directions, keep us from becoming aware of these things. But what's happening now is very interesting, and I want to get your insights into that as well, is the perceived awakening that people are having, becoming aware of some of the things that we're discussing, some of the corruption, and in turn manifesting different outcomes, it seems. Are you seeing the same things?
Yes. And what happens, you get sensory overload. Okay. What happens when you get sensory overload? You withdraw, right? Where do you withdraw to? Into your own space. Now, when your own space, within your own space, what do? Well, now you're into your own local reality. Okay. And so I talk about this on that Gaia series I did, quantum effect. And that is, there is only one reality, and that is one that exists basically within your arm's reach. Okay? Now think about that. As far as you can reach, you can be interactive with reality. Once you go beyond that arm's reach, you have to put out effort and energy. You have to come up with awareness and some idea of direction. And so when you're in a what I call fascinated state, which is movies, news, politics, UFO stuff, that's a fascinated state. You have removed yourself from reality. Okay? Now, so to me, that's like a drug. You have taken yourself away from reality. And it's like, well, what's the benefit of that? And the answer is there's no benefit. It's because when you come back into your timeline, now you're missing a chunk. It's kind of like you went away and the world moved on. Well, the world's moving on all the time. So why the heck would you ever handicap yourself? So there's a key to it. So what happens is we get inundated with this, the UFO stuff or the politics or and then you go, well, how did that benefit you by being aware of all that or consuming all that would be a better language, right? I can consume 10 hours of news today on what the politicians are doing. And then what did that do for me? All it did was increase my cortisol and adrenaline and basically make me older. So when you withdraw your conscious away from that, you have the ability or better chance of creating a better reality for yourself. And that's always local. Okay. We're talking daytime now. At nighttime, you can ask for interactive or become interactive with the information field or the universe, whatever you want to call it. So when we do that, we have a greater sense of ourselves because we have been the ones that are creating the actions rather than waiting for somebody else to tell us the way things are. It never goes well. Okay. Right. So did that answer?
Yes, that's a perfect answer. Now, I want to go back to the field of information, consciousness, energy that surrounds us at all times. What are the implications and what could come of it if we gain a better understanding of how this works? Are we talking free energy, healing modalities? How far can we go with it?
Oh, way beyond anything that's present in our reality right now. The reason is all knowledge exists. That's kind of a statement we can start with. I just need to go find it. Okay. Well, the I that needs to go find it doesn't need to be compromised by belief systems or programming, all kinds of things. And if we go into where all that knowledge is, I got a clue for you. It's inhabited space also. So we know that because we have dreams, and the dreams have things in them. Okay. And whether those things are reality here, that's the first language comes up. It's like, no, they have a reality independent of our reality, but it doesn't mean we're not interactive. You ever been in a dream state and had a nightmare, right? It's like, I don't want to play with those. You ever been in a dream state where something prophetic or something benefits you comes to you? Those you want to interact with. And that's why we say always calibrate the level of consciousness of anything you're talking to or anything talking to you, which goes back to, if I'm the one listening, who the hell's talking? Okay. So the answer is, in a supernatural, and that's the language. And by the way, the Bible says don't have anything to do with supernatural. That's the point. So we can throw that in there. But anyway, if you look at that and go, well, there's information available to me that has no basis in what I consider normal reality or normal human reality. But that doesn't mean there's not principalities and domains and universes that have things that are non-physical to this world. That's where we get into all that fifth, sixth dimension crap. So, pardon me, ideas. So when we look at that, we know they're out there, and we know that they consume a large part of humans' consciousness, or conscious energy, we'll call it. And there's actually ways we measure that. I inadvertently or somehow picked up a Ouija board and slammed it into the closet one day, opened the closet, and it's like 100 degrees colder. Right. So supernaturally, we know there's temperature differentials. Well, there's consciousness differentials. There's lots of ways to measure it. Vibration and frequency is the popular language. And those could be all appropriate. It's kind of like tuning yourself to the radio. I don't like this station, turn it to another station.
So you'd also say there's different layers and levels to it as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. What was Blake or one of them on the different levels of hell? You know, it's like, what makes you think all of them are positive?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
All the aliens have benefit to us. You know, like that's just crazy to me. It's like, why wouldn't it have the full range of expression that we have, positive and negative? Okay. So, were you raised in Louisiana?
Yes, I was.
Okay. I lived there many years, and I love Louisiana, just so you know. Everybody talks about leaving the country. I said, just go to another country, and it's called Louisiana.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
The food's better, right? The law is better. It's French law. You'll do much better under it than the English law. So everybody wants to move to Florida and Texas. I moved to Louisiana. It is a far better time, right?
Yeah.
So you might die young from partying so much and having such a good life. But other than that, right? But you ever been to Black Bayou?
I lived near. I lived off of Bayou Black. I don't know if that's the same thing.
This is up north of Baton Rouge.
Okay, no, north. This is. I was in South Louisiana.
Yeah, this is up north of Bossier City or Shreveport.
Okay, I haven't been to that area too much. I've passed through a few times.
I tell people that don't believe in the supernatural, right? Or that there's other dimensions of reality that coexist with ours. That's a better explanation of all this, that we have coexisting realities. And some people exist more in this one or that one than this one that we're in today, right here. But for anybody that doesn't believe that, just go out on Black Bayou at night, get yourself a pirogue or a boat, go out there and just sit. And all I say is just sit there from, let's say, dusk till dawn. And if you make it, please call me. I will buy you dinner.
Yeah.
Because I lasted about 15 minutes, right? And I went, this is no place to be, right? And the sense of that is so great that you can't help but start recognizing that there are other realities intermeshed with ours. Now, Native Americans know this, right? They've known it for years. All you got to do is check the history and information from the Hopis, the Dene, or Navajo, right? They're going to tell you all kinds of things. The Seneca, they'll do the same thing. So once we recognize that and understand that maybe I want to close down all the information flows when I go to sleep because I'm tired. And then maybe I want to sit down and not close them down, but actually go exploring. What kind of art would I come up with? What kind of projects would I come up with? You know, all this 0 point energy stuff is fascinating. I've worked with 2 or 3 people that have developed them. I've seen the machines. I've helped them with their research over the last 20 years. It's a phenomenon. It's something that's real. It's something that can be understood. It's something that can be produced, okay, as far as equipment. But here becomes the kicker. It's like, I've had people go, well, you've seen them. I go, yeah, they work. Yes, they do. Then remember, number one, reality, like you can actually touch things and everything. And they go, well, how come they're not available? Well, you have to have the money to produce a plant. You have to have a market. And so let's say I produce a ZPE machine, which, like I said, we have. And it's like, do you understand the cost of producing a factory like that? Ask Elon Musk. He's been producing electrical factories, right? What if he changed over some little bitty unit that you could put in your house? It's like, well, the research costs and physical plant development alone would be hundreds of billions of dollars. That's what it would take to put it all in practice. And then there's no immediate benefit. You're talking like a timeline of maybe 5 years as an arc of development. It'd take that long to build a plant. And so it becomes ridiculous to go, why aren't there med beds or why aren't there ZPE? It's, well, unless you've got the money and the backing of a whole lot of people, okay,
yeah,
it's not possible. Like, you have individuals that can produce one or two or three or whatever, and but the market and everything becomes into question. Real simple. We developed one for an island down in the Caribbean. They import like $5 million worth of diesel. We put in basically an outhouse size unit, and they reduce their diesel cost to, let's say, $1 million from $5 million. Now, that's good. It's not just relying on exactly the ZPE, but what it does is put you in the right direction. Okay. And so we have no concept of the development of the electromagnetic engineering that has gone on. I think that's originally what the UFOs were. Is it alien technology? Well, it may have come from a source that's non-physical and more what we would call the supernatural. So now we can allocate our information, our knowledge, in a direction that maybe we would reinterrogate that source and find out what else we need to do. Okay, I think this is what Tesla was on the track of when he was developing all these crazy things. He was in contact, and he said that. He claimed they were Martians or something, or aliens. But it's just a non-local consciousness. That's all. You know, if your dead grandma shows up in the middle of the night, or me, like I had a snake shaman, White Mountain Apache snake shaman would come and give me lessons. And, you know, people go, what? And I go, if you have no knowledge or experience of it, how can I explain it to you? Right? I used to have several Native American, what do you call it? I don't know, thought forms, ghosts, right? Presences, right? It goes on all the time, right? Your dead grandma. I mean, so until we recognize that those have validity, that there's some truthfulness to it, we deny ourselves the ability to be interactive with it, right? Hey, grandma, how's it going? So it's not that I see dead people. It's like I talk to them, right?
Right.
So
let's talk a little bit more about the lower vibrational intelligences in between some of these layers of reality that can be harmful to us. I see the positive and negative polarities as things that we can bounce off of and learn from, but it seems like some people get attracted to the darkness of these intelligences and become attracted to the information they're getting, and they go down a dark path.
Yes, exactly. And that's something that, to me, you should teach. I mean, when I was a kid, I had horrible nightmares. You know, the nuclear bombs were going off, or, you know, you're fighting the devil or something.
Yeah.
And I had the great good fortune, and I'm always amazed at this. I picked up a book called Psychic Self-Defense by Dion Fortune. And I'm like 13 years old, and boy, did it help me a lot, because I was under attack the whole time. Now, the purpose of all psychic attacks and all information out of ONI and CIA is to produce fear. And then, as an energy, frequency, or whatever you want to call it, vibration, there's a very simple question. Where did the energy go? Energy doesn't dissipate. It has to go somewhere. I'll give you an example of that. I went to Dr. David Hawkins. I went to a bunch of lectures. And there was a guy to show, first of all, 400 people in there entering a state of bliss during the lectures. This is what would happen. That's why so many people wanted to go. And we're all sitting there kind of like blissed out. And this guy comes in, supposedly was a friend of David's, and starts doing the Diamond Sutra chant. And boy, I freaked out. I jumped up and ran out of the room. And I came back in. All the energy was gone. And I asked a very simple question. What happened to all that blissful energy I had? And everybody in here, which was this giant, like, I don't know, call it a bank account, millions of dollars, and it disappeared. Why? Because the negative vibration, the negative entity, let's say, that was in that person, and here we go again about not being yourself, it's like, that's where the energy went. So all negative energy has to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. I have a theory. All depressed people have negative entities in them. And what's that mean? Entities that live off negative energy. And of course, well, how to prove that, right? So, well, I don't have to prove it. Just go find somebody depressed and ask them where all their energy's going. And the same thing at night when you dream, right? If you're interactive with a negative energy, where'd your energy go? Because you wake up going, oh my God, I didn't sleep, I'm tired. And at that point, it's like, whoa, that's a reality, okay? And as a reality, I want to know how to defend against it. That's what I've been teaching for 50 years because it helped me. But we don't think that way. We don't, like, I go to bed, I protect my space. Well, a dozen different ways. Why? Because I keep getting attacked by everything in the universe, apparently. And all it is trying to get you to go into a negative state. Mm-hmm. What does politics in the world create? Negative state, religion, negative state, society. I mean, it's like, golly, give me a break. And of course, that's what everybody wants. And that's why you should do drugs and alcohol to become a break from it. The problem is it creates holes in your energy field and makes you more accessible to all those things that are trying to hurt you or steal your energy. So there we go. Right.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's an insanity, right? Yeah. Protect yourself.
For the last few minutes we have, let's talk about what you see happening in a collective consciousness level, where we're headed. I see a lot of good things happening. I see a lot of people becoming aware of things, not participating in the agendas that don't serve them, which is pretty much everything that comes down from our global leaders and things that are nonsense. But there's some good things happening, and I want to get your insights into everything happening right now.
Okay, so two things. One of them is called a self-organizing collective. Okay. The second thing is called a breakaway civilization. Okay. And I like both these concepts for different reasons. The self-organizing collective, you go, well, what's the values we want to have? And then you find people that have those shared values. Okay. Mm-hmm. A breakaway civilization is a little different organism. And so if we look at someplace like Dubai sets up and goes, we want to attract maybe the most wealthiest people on the planet, which they've done, okay? But what if you, instead of setting up Dubai, you set up someplace else, and like Puerto Rico's kind of gone that way of trying to attract rich people. But what if you said, I want the highest IQ people I can find, okay? And I want to bring them in here and support them. What kind of speed of advancement of that culture would occur compared to the rest of society? Right. It'd be phenomenal. And of course, it's one of the tenets of Asimov's Foundation series, right? Is what if you took all the most intelligent people, you would get advances in science at a hell of an incredible rate compared to the rest of us plodding along, okay? So now, that's my idea about if you wanted to advance humanity, why wouldn't you put a group of people like that together, let's say on, the Navajo reservation or something, go, here, have at it, right? What resources do you need? Don't build atom bombs, right? Don't build, black holes or CERN or whatever.
Yeah.
Find ways that would advance humanity and turn them loose, right? That makes sense to me. We do the exact opposite, by the way. Self-organizing collective is a different animal in that if I can find people that want to withdraw out of all that negativity that's being produced, we have energy now. It doesn't, energy, money doesn't make any difference. It's all interactive. It's like we have the interactive ability to help each other, feed off each other in a way that is productive, that's positive, not the negative that goes on in the astral realms and the lower astral and a dozen others that I could get into. So that makes more sense. So you reach a threshold of non-compliance or non-interest. Remember, what if you turned off the internet or turned off the TV or the news? You don't have any idea what the politics are, and you don't care because you've got other things to do. And that's what I tell people. You have something to do, and that is to improve your position. And what I mean by that is improve being Chris, improve being Randy. That's the greatest benefit you're ever going to deliver to anybody around you, to your children, to the future, to the planet, or anything else. And so that becomes critical. So we'd say not how you're doing, but what did you do yesterday to help yourself today? That becomes a critical question. And then if you have a group, what did the group do yesterday to help all of us? Okay. And it's not communism. It's not collectivism. It's not any ISM. Okay. What it is saying that there is a certain deservingness of being healthy and being conscious to the best and the most expansive way I can in this lifetime. Right. And to me, if you can find people that support that for themselves and for you, then you have done something. You have somebody on your side. I tell people when I work on people, I'm on your side now. If you get attacked, they're attacking not just you, but they're attacking me. And that's going to be a fun game because I've got some experience with all this. Okay. So little different ways of looking at things today. That's what I wanted. I was really happy to be able to see you and talk to you again.
Yeah, this was great. I love it. Really confirming a lot of things, opening up new ideas, and I know the audience is really going to enjoy this. Randy, thank you so much for coming on again. We'll definitely get back to it again in the future. Before you take off, remind the audience how they can find you and everything you've got going on.
Yeah, it's Randy Veitenheimer on the internet. Energy Doctor, ENERGYDOKTOR at me.com. That's my email. You can find me on YouTube and Instagram and all these other things. I post little stories and book reviews and things that in an effort to be beneficial to other people. Okay, and to educate them. So.
Excellent.
So they're welcome to contact me. I always tell people I'll answer any question that basically as I get time. So
perfect. Randy, thank you so much. We'll do it again in the future. And until next time, everyone, have an excellent evening. We'll talk again tomorrow. We'll see y'all then.